Hello, how are you today? It's a pertinent question for me because I always want to be sure that all our friends are hale and hearty. Now, it is Conversations, and my name is Elizabeth. What is our focus today? 19th of this month will be a day again as set out every year to recognize and celebrate persons living with sickle cell anemia. And the good news about it for me is that a whole lot is happening, and the situations are not as bad as it were back in the years. A lot of them are surviving, a lot of them are doing great things. It does not take away anything from who you are, it does not reduce who you are at all. As a matter of fact, I was corrected by a friend who is also living with this sickle cell anemia that she is not a patient. She is not a sickler. Rather, she is a warrior. And I have such people seated here with me, you know, all the warriors in the house. We have a regular warrior. Let me let you do the introduction.
Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Deva Mom, and it's a delight to be with you this morning. Like Elizabeth said, we'll be talking about sickle cell disease, sickle cell disorder, sickle cell anemia, whatever you want to call it. The focus today is on sickle cell disease.
Okay. So,
Hi, my name is Afiz Adeyemi. I'm a filmmaker and actually a sickle cell warrior as well.
okay.
And, yeah.
Nice to have you. And I know you have a bit of your film here today, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. It would be nice to see it later as we go. All right.
My name is Shio Mohammed. I'm a warrior too, a chartered accountant, and an author. Yes.
Wow. You write books.
Yes, I wrote a book for now, planning to write more.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about you writing, see an accountant writing books. I don't know if it's an accountancy you're writing about or how to help me make more money or get more accountable. But all of that will take a break quickly. And when we return, the whole discussion will set in. So let's do a quick break.
When there's a child out there that's not getting the same that your own child is getting, the difference will tell, and there will come a time in the society where that child is going to take his pound of
the child. You can start up the conversation from something on the TV and say, oh,
For me, it's like, hurry up with this business. And the other one said, Auntie, it's not about me, it's about the guys. They're not ready to marry.
Yes.
See if she wants to ask something. No, I know my mother very well. In fact, the most interesting one is when I put up pictures on WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat filters and all that, she will call me, remove that picture. There was a day I got tired of all that and I said,
You know, by the way, still conversations. I'm always tempted to jump in immediately and start talking because that's what we do here. It's conversations, and you mentioned earlier that we're going to be looking at sickle cell disorder, sickle cell anemia, sickle cell disease. When you were, you know, streamlining it, in my head I was going, what's the difference? When is it disorder? When is it disease? When is it anemia? I don't know. Can you
I
enlighten me?
really don't know myself, but I know that the terms are used interchangeably. I recall mentioning one time, I said something about sickle cell anemia, and somebody corrected me, a medical practitioner corrected me that no, it's a sickle cell disorder. And then somebody else said it's sickle cell disease. So I just mentioned all the plethora of names, whichever one works best for you, whichever one you're most conversant with. That's what
I
we're
notice
talking
you're
about
laughing.
today.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same thing anyways. The anemia, I think, is because we know every sickle cell warrior is anemic.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's where the anemia comes from. And the disorder is just the blood being sickled, being misshaped, which makes it
Okay, that
disorder.
shape that we
Yeah,
have.
which
Okay.
makes it the disorder part of it. Then the disease is the actual fact that everybody assume it's a disease anyway. So I think that's where the mix-up
All the titles.
comes from.
Okay. So whatever it is, that's what our focus is. Now, what I usually wonder is, you know, where, how did we get to that level? And a lot of times they tell me it's about the genotype. You know, I am not going to be asking about genotype as at your parents because I know it's none of your business. It already happened. But I'd like to know, you know, the three of you are warriors, and I've known Devon particularly for a very long time. And in fact, the early days I knew her, the only thing I know is that she was always in the office. She never breaks down. What is the magic?
Oh, I was breaking down.
We didn't notice.
That's because, well, I'll be eternally grateful to the NTA structure. In the earlier years, right, I was with NTA for 12 years, but a certain mix of, you know, incidents in my life now led to depression, which in turn affected my health, my physical health very badly. So in the years before I started having frequent physical or health challenges, I had a very good run of, you know, very good health. I had a grueling schedule and I'd keep up with it and everything. So the people I was working with, my bosses in the office already knew I had a very good work ethic. So when my health challenges started becoming more frequent, they were sympathetic. They were able to accommodate the situation and they gave me all the support system I needed. I was given the privacy I needed. It was never, if anybody in the office knew I was ill, it wasn't coming from management. It was me telling my friends or colleagues, this is the reason I've not been in the office and so on and so forth. So it was well managed. And that was because whenever I am not ill, I'm giving my 110%. My program never fails. If it fails, then it's certainly a circumstance outside what I can control and so on and so forth. So I had a very good work ethic. And the bosses I was working with really appreciated that. So for those times when I wasn't well enough to do what I needed to do, I always had a support system. And you know, the kind of entity NTA is, it's not possible for one person, it's a family. So whenever somebody falls down the crack, there's always people to cover up and, you know, keep you looking good, and nobody really knows what's up. But I know that toward the last 5 years or so before I left NTA, I was constantly in and out of hospital.
You know, I was here with you, but I always said, this girl, what's her problem? She's always on air.
I just had a very good support system.
She's so much of a Jackie.
No, I had a very good support system.
I know that with all the, you know, things that a lot of people fear about the SS people, you have been up and about. You're a filmmaker. And you didn't just get up and you decided to make film. You actually went to places. I know you were in London.
Yes.
You were in New York Film
Los
Academy.
Angeles.
Even one of Jos, all in a
For my bachelor's and everything, I didn't really get into much of the practical aspect of filmmaking yet. But until I traveled to New York and LA, which was where I studied a short course, then moved to LA for my master's degree, which was more of an hands-on. It was that moment I knew, okay, I could do this. You know, I was more of an editor, you know, laid back, just sit at the computer and just do stuff for people and everything. But as I started evolving, I realized I could do almost every aspect of filmmaking.
you could call the shots.
Yes. So I started doing cinematography. Then I felt, okay, if I'm editing and I can call the shots, then definitely I can do the directing as well. So when I got to the New York Film Academy in LA, we were opportune to do our own individual projects. So which is where those ideas came in to start. Okay, I'm a sickle cell warrior. How can I, tell stories that reflect my reality? And I felt, okay, God has blessed me already. I have the tools. All I have to do is just to make it work. That's all I needed. So from that moment, from my first 2 short films to my feature film, which I did in recent times, I was somebody that even when I fell ill and I was discharged from the hospital, the moment I got home, the next day I'm back at the office. I'm working. They complain a lot and all of that, but I kept telling them that I would rest when I die.
You rest when you die.
Yes.
That's
So
a
let me
tough
do
one.
whatever I can do now. And because of the mindset or the idea that people have when it comes to sickle cell warriors, that okay, your lifespan is limited and all of that. So you felt okay, you need to rush and do certain things and make things work, let people see you, leave a legacy and all of that. So I think that was what pushed me the most, and I was lucky as well to have people that I worked with. They were incredible people, and I have my own company as well, which made it easier. And aside that, the family,
What's the name of your company?
Epitome Studios.
Epitome Studio.
Yes.
Okay, it's a production house.
It's a production
All
house. So we decided to do that and produce whatever I needed to produce. And my focus was solely focused on sickle cell because I needed a way for people to understand what we're going through.
Did you also try to act in the movie?
No.
It would have been nice to see you in it. Director, I know you have a bit of that movie. If you're ready with it, kindly let me know so that we can see a bit of what he's done. Are you ready? Okay, so let's just see it at once.
Untrue. I've told you that. Don't you understand? It's not going to come true in my lifetime.
Mommy, kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ now, mommy?
It is not going to work out like that. You had better give yourself a rethink now.
Daddy. Timba gbọ́ daddy lẹ́nu ẹ̀.
Should be like father, like son.
He took after you.
Oh.
He took after you. A very stubborn and inconsiderate child of yours.
Well, he is his father's son now.
Eh?
He is your son.
Ọmọ ẹ̀ ni. Ẹnu ẹ̀ láwà yìí.
Ó wà bọ́ lórí títì ni. You, agbẹ́nikọlu ni aláǹgbọ̀rọ̀ èṣù. I will show you. Kí ló dé tẹ́yìn ẹgbẹ́nu sílẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ kẹ́ bá sòótọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ ń fẹ́ yín? Àbí? Get out of my parlour.
Why did you choose to hurt me this way? Oba, why? Why?
I love her so much, Mom.
So much more than me? You love her to the extent that you have to hurt your own mother, a dead woman walking?
Mommy, say all you wish, but those words won't change a thing.
What kind of a girl? What kind of a girl will force her way into a man's life and separate him from his family? And then you talk about loving. I'm hurting. Is this what you want?
Wow. Afiz, you actually did that.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any expo somewhere? I really felt touched. But for me, I don't know. I should just say congratulations in a big way, in capital letters. You can actually see me spell them out. It's lovely. We'll get to talk more about that. But let me quickly move to Ms. Mohammed here, who is an accountant turned writer as well. How has the journey been for you?
Well, like any typical warrior, it has not been an easy journey. But for most of us, what drives us is that ambition, that determination that, look, we must not give up. No matter the struggle we are going through, we must survive. And happily enough, I have very supportive parents, family generally. So all these things aided in my struggle. And by the time I start working, like Devan mentioned something about good work ethics, that really played well for me. I was with Daily Trust.
You worked with them?
Yes, for almost 18 years. I was the GM Finance, General Manager Finance. And honestly, the environment that I worked made things very easy for me. From almost immediately I joined the company, I have free access to health. Unlike, even before they approved that same facility for their staff, they already did that for me. So working in such an environment makes your job easier, and of course you don't delay things. Afis was saying something like, whatever you want to achieve it on time. That thing goes for us, that look, whatever you can achieve today, don't delay it tomorrow. And that's the style with which I work. You can't bring a file to my table, then you find it lying down. Except some that demands critical thinking, you want to sleep over. But on my work, I clear my table every day. So these are the things that help us, yes, on our work side. On our medical side, and you were sure, oh, my doctor said this, I have to keep to it. Even though you find out something about our crisis is that no matter how you are meticulous with all the regiments that you should keep, the crisis still comes. But then, you always have this, I have a life to live, I have a goal, you keep on moving. So that is how we've been able to survive it.
So I'd like to know, how did you go into writing? Because accountancy, great, is, and unless you're telling me you're writing about accountancy?
No, even, even my taking a career in accountancy, I would say is because of my sickle cell.
Really?
Yes. Actually,
where is the correlation?
I studied accounting at the university. But after graduation, I left the university in 1990. So after graduation, at that time, not the same thing as obtains now. Passing ICANN exam is really a difficult thing for you then, because the way the whole thing was structured. So I asked myself, after the stress I went through at PFA, do I still want to sit down reading books again? Of course, I was working in an accounting firm. Along the line, I have these nasty complications of sickle cell that I was bedridden for almost 2 years.
Wow.
I spent almost a year at University College Hospital in Ibadan. Went through surgery and so many things. So by the time I came out of the hospital, I have to start physiotherapy. So that was the only thing I was doing at home. And that was how I told myself, look, with my situation, my best bet is, if I'm in accounting, if I'm an accountancy profession, I know that my movement will not be much if I'm in business. That was how I started reading for my ICANN exams. And believe you me, at the first sitting, I cleared my paper.
Wow.
And that is the can-do spirit in we warriors. We have that. Yes, many of us, we do go through depression. We've suffered it several times. Hardly will you see a warrior that will not tell that at one time or the other he or she was having depression. But at the same time, we always come out of it. So back to my story. After passing my exams, I started working in an audit firm. Because one thing for us, we always want to have this required period that you should practice so that you can have your own license to that you can start your own firm. So after I've been able to do that, I joined Daily Trust, the media trust, and joining this was wow for me, honestly. And I went there with that work ethic that look, whatever I can achieve today, I should not delay it tomorrow.
You know, I'm going to take a pause on that and come back so that you can link me up to how you move from accountancy to writing. I'm interested in the book, especially if it's not in accounting. I don't know how to account. So let's quickly take this break. When we come back, the show continues.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media, on the coronavirus. Do not believe or partake in the spread of these fake reports. If it is not on the official website or news from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, disregard such report. Only together can we beat this virus. Only together can we overcome this pandemic. Follow the instructions and guidelines provided to combat this virus. Most importantly, stay at home. Self-isolate, regardless of your status. The virus doesn't move unless we move. Let us work together to better Nigeria. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
All right, if you're just joining us, you haven't missed much, but you've actually missed a lot too. It's conversation, and our today's focus is on sickle cell, be it disorder, disease, anemia, all of it put together. And we have in the studio warriors who incidentally are all my friends, and they've expressed how they've been able to conquer, and they're doing great things, which is why they are the warriors they are. Now, against all odds, you worked as an accountant, you have written a book. I still want to talk about that book. What is the title, and is it about sickle cell as well, or accountancy, or just you?
Well, my book is titled I'm a Survivor.
I'm a survivor.
Yes.
Okay, it's about sickle cell.
Yes, the story of my triumph over sickle cell pains.
That's your personal experience.
That is my personal experience.
Okay.
As growing up as a sickle cell patient, as a warrior. And actually what motivates me to write the book is, for quite some time I've been having this idea that yes, I should write. But when I left the service of Daily Trust in 2018, I now do more sickle cell advocacy. I interact with people within the sickle cell community, some foundations. I find that I was involved more in counseling. Through this counseling, I keep on repeating my own stories to motivate others. Because like I said, most of us are going through depression. I tell my story to motivate them, and I see the reaction, the improvement in them. From there, I just look, why don't I just document this? And that was how I started the writing.
So you can reach out to some other people who are not able to meet you one-on-one.
This is what I went through, and these are my own survival techniques, which I believe if you try, it will work for you too. Yes, it's also a motivational book. That whatever the health situation or whatever the challenges you are going, you can surmount it.
All right, you have been exposed to a whole lot of people, you know. What is the most trying thing for them? You know, most other warriors or patients, as you call them, what is the most challenging thing? Because this year's theme actually says shine the light on sickle cell. That means give it enough publicity. And NTA, in our strides, we've taken the bull by the horn to be the champions, to, you know, set the pace rolling for other people. And I want to use your voice and advocate, you know, to find out the, you know, touching problems of other people out there.
Yes, I'll say the challenges are multidimensional. It's not just one issue. One, I'll say sometimes people accepting us. We find out that we face so much discrimination.
Discrimination?
Yes, in the society.
Really?
That one
you actually think that?
Yes, it's true.
Wow.
We face so much discrimination in the society. But if you go for a job interview now, no matter how good you are, and you dare mention that you're a warrior, honestly, if they are saying, yes, this is a good person for us, that one would count against you. In most cases, not in all cases. Because I can always say my own case, I thank God for it. That is one, that discrimination. Then issue of access to health is still a challenge to many people. You know, like I said, I joined so many foundations, and what I find out is that for people to be able to go to hospital, sometimes we may have to be contributing, this one donating 1,000 naira, 500 naira to get them. In fact, if I may be allowed to say this is one of the things I seek out to achieve with my book. Like, look, on my own part, the process of my book, from the launching I'm doing, I want to sponsor 100 sickle cell patients.
Oh, you're going to launch the book?
Yes. I want to do that, okay, let me get indigenous sickle cell patients, 100 of them. Let me put them on NHIS. So at least this one will go a long way in helping them have access to health. Because one thing about us, delay, someone is in crisis, the next thing the person needs is to be in the hospital. Get all the necessary medication at that time. But by the time you are delaying, it could bring so many other complications. So access to it is also a very key challenge. So those are for now. I think for now, my colleagues may have other ideas that they want to say.
Okay, and maybe I should turn back to...
Yeah, those were some pertinent points he mentioned. For my part, I never had issues with, like, you know, moving from one job to the next. Like with NTA, I served and was retained. Although they knew while I was serving that I was genotype SS, my work ethic, I'm sure, played in for me. So I was retained. When I left NTA, I went to the BBC World Service Trust at the time. At the moment, it's the BBC Media Action. Nobody asked me about my health, so it wasn't a piece of information. I just randomly volunteered. I got the job. My next job after that, I worked on a USAID-funded project in Nasarawa State. Nobody asked me about my health. I didn't volunteer the information. I got the job. After that, I headed a small NGO, a local NGO here in Abuja. Nobody asked me about my health status. I didn't volunteer the information. And then after that, I worked on a World Health Organization, World Bank assisted project. Again, my health was not something that anybody asked me about during the interview, so I didn't volunteer the information. I got the job. So, but I guess in other instances where if it's a direct, do you have any health issues you'd like to share with us? Oh, of course I'd mention it, but that never came up. I got all the jobs I, ever attended an interview for. In fact, at a point I started getting big-headed about it. I was like, please don't call me for an interview. I'm going to nail the job. So for me, that was never an issue, but I do realize that it would probably be for other people. It was not my reality. I didn't face such challenges. And even during the course of work, when people came to realize, that, oh, I have this challenge, so I got the support I needed to do the work I needed to do, and I was fine. But in my relationship life, there would be, back then when I was still single, on a number of occasions, you're just sitting with somebody, in the early days, you're just hanging out, trying to know each other before you decide if you want to date or not. And on one or two occasions, purely by, you're just gisting and somebody's like, I can't stand sickness. Because, and that happened to me like twice. And the person was, we were just talking randomly, and that came up. I can't stand. They're so always talking about how sick they are and how on all this, that, and the other. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. No, seriously, I can't stand it. And I didn't say anything. We continued hanging out for a while. So when the guy eventually got round to actually asking me out, and I said, well, I don't think it'll work. He's like, no, I really enjoy your company. I like you. I said, I like you as a friend. We can stay friends, but I don't want to. Why? I said, well, you did say you don't like sicklers, as that was the common term back then, yes. And I happen to be one. So I don't know how, hi, but you don't look it. You guys have they have a look and everything. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, right. I said, but since that is something that's really, because you really went on about it, I said, I can't get over how negatively you spoke about it, and I always feel some type of way, so let's just be friends and all that. So relationships, yeah. And then sometimes family members, some people think you have a friend and they're scared that they think it's a cough.
Really?
Yeah,
that can be.
Is it contagious?
Are you serious?
And things like that. But I think that those
it really
things
shows they're not educated enough.
So there's a bit of ignorance going on around that, but it's not something I ever found hurtful per se. Maybe because I grew up in a home where my mother was a nurse. So from when I was a small child, they never hid it. It was very common knowledge. So I also grew up not hiding it. That's not the first thing I'll tell you about myself. But at some point, if we're friends or if you're around me, I'll definitely release the information so that if I get sick or something, you won't be speculating and wondering what's wrong. You'll know exactly what's up with me. So I grew up in a home where my parents were very open with the information. I also never hid it and so on. So I've not experienced too much discrimination or stigma, just a little bit of it here and there. And I remember when I first started advocacy, many years ago, a friend of mine told me I was feeling cool about being sick. I didn't know whether to be amused or what. I was like, why would you say that? But the person was really like, no, you are feeling so cool about being sick. And I'm sorry, but that made me take several steps back. It made me feel like, do people think
It's a joy.
it's a joy, it's something I like
Enjoying
or
it,
something.
yeah.
So it really made me step back. So I've experienced things like that, but not ordinarily anything that keeps me awake at night.
It's better that way. Afis, I would like to share your own story a little bit. And I know you're married
Yes.
and you have children.
Yes.
Was it that easy to woo your wife? When she found out, how did she
No.
feel?
The truth is, I'm not. If I think about it, most times I'm like, okay, I'm still married. Okay.
Were you going to think that you won't be married after a while?
I mean, because like she said, relationships were headaches. Even if you get anybody to go out with you by telling them that you're a warrior and everything, and I was somebody that I didn't tell people. I never did. But probably my close friends, probably my roommates and everything. And that was because, like she said, if anything happens and everything, so they can be able to rush you to the hospital and all that. So probably my one was more of when I get into the relationship proper and everything, I just somehow believe that I might not go into crisis in the relationship. So I try to view, that and assume that miracles could happen and everything, but it didn't work like that. But the thing was, I had several relationships that made here and that's the end of that relationship. It's done and everything. And my wife, actually, the time I was asking her out, I was doing it as a joke, like I didn't want any disappointment, so that it won't be like, oh, I can't go out with you, and I won't be heartbroken, because as at that time she was actually in a relationship as well, and the brother was someone I was staying with and very close with when I was in the UK, so he was someone that assisted in the whole wooing. He asked her, and she said, no, it cannot work because I have somebody. But the good thing was that even when she got around to say, okay, fine, I'll do it and everything, it wasn't out of sympathy or anything, because when she told her family, I was actually afraid of the family mostly, but they were the ones that surprised me the most. They were like, okay, it's sickle cell, fine. If you are okay with that, then because you're the one that's going to get married to him. So at the end of the day, it's your choice. If you're okay with it, then we will support you and everything. And the incredible thing is that the family are amazing people. No judgment, none of that from them. I know. So she's an incredible woman as well. We have 2 kids, one on the way as well. So
One on the way.
yeah.
This guy is not joking with anybody.
So,
That's nice.
I know that
Congratulations.
the one on the way was more of women. Oh God, but yes. But in terms of discrimination, I think that's basically what the issue is. Especially, you guys actually got lucky with your jobs, because usually organizations, companies don't employ sickle cell warriors.
Really?
Yes, they don't. They just feel it's mismanagement, it's a waste, because they know the back and forth hospital and everything, so they feel there are lapses.
Oh, I've never taken it for granted. I just know I have the devil's luck.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know what
it's,
it is.
it's luck. So
Somebody actually wrote, he said, Devon, you weren't asked about your health status because you look healthy, right? Probably that's why you were switching job.
exactly.
So,
So
I guess.
I mean, especially it's even common in the US and in the UK. They have these petitions going on how they need to treat sickle cell warriors, in the workplace and everything. So it's something that is there. It's just that's why you see a lot of warriors are self-employed. They have their own businesses because they know they could get up to do it anytime they want, and they can employ people to actually do the job for them. So that's that. And I think that's basically it. Then, like you said, the hospital thing, and when you get to the hospital, that is the worst.
That is the worst?
Yes.
That's supposed to be a relief place.
No. So, I mean, I am somebody that's, I think for 3 years or more now, I have stopped going to the hospital.
For 3 years?
Yes.
So how
Why?
do you cope?
Because I can't stand them.
What's the challenge really? I want to
The
understand.
challenge is you're meant to go to the hospital, right? To
Yes.
get the relief, the care, the attention and everything. But you get there and you've been
Pain.
discriminated on. Now, a doctor comes to you and you tell the doctor, okay, I'm in pain. And the thing with most warriors is that we can handle pains.
Yeah.
In terms of not showing it.
I almost died one day because I was being strong.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
problem.
but the nurse de-escalated what was up with me
Because you weren't shouting?
because I wasn't screaming
Yeah.
and rolling on the floor. Meanwhile, I was almost passing out with pain.
Yeah.
It was when the doctor, who is more familiar with my case, came in. He screamed, "Why is she still sitting here? Why haven't you done this?" "Oh, she doesn't look agitated." That was the most frustrating thing I've ever, because I was sitting there literally doing what I could not. I mean, there are times when you're in so much pain that even to gasp, you are frightened because you feel as if it will escalate the pain. So I was sitting there controlling every last fiber of my being, and this woman had, deprioritized my situation to attend to people who were coming in with headaches and leg pains and this, that, and the other. And the doctor almost had a fit when he came in and saw me sitting there. "Oh, she didn't know. Sorry.
No, I mean, that's it. Like, we don't show pain, but the thing is, we are dying, you get, and they stroll in, they do whatever, and when you ask, okay, I need my pain meds. Now, they come in with this concept or this idea that you're not supposed to take certain medications. And I'm like, okay, you're right, but I've been on this journey now, so I know what works for me. I know what I'm allergic to, and I know what won't waste our time together. And the next thing that comes out from a medical practitioner's mouth is, "Oh, it's because you're a junkie, you're a drug addict.
Oh,
You're just here.
I've never experienced
You're
that.
just here to get drugs and everything." Yes.
I've not experienced that.
I spoke to someone recently that just pulled her daughter out of the hospital. The same thing happened to her in front of the mom. The mom was the one that was telling me that this was what she went through. And she was like, you could see that she's in pain. You could see that she's suffering, and you could dare call her that. That happens. And it is the worst, truthfully. So, yeah, I mean, that's there.
All right, it's heart touching.
I think I share what Afis said, but I have a slight view of it that, yes, when you go through such abuse, that's what I'll call it now, what do you do?
Okay.
To me, I've had 1 or 2 incidents like that in one of the hospitals I do attend. Of course, things were rectified for me. And in Abuja today, the only hospital I always recommend is that, oh, you have this, better you go to National Hospital. Yes, many people will say complain about National Hospital, but for me, it works for me. And this is what I do. National Hospital have this Savicom unit.
Where you can report.
Exactly. That unit, to me, it works perfectly well. Except that maybe among us, sometimes you feel so frustrated, let me just go back. Some doctors could be nasty. I remember one incident.
Someone actually wrote this and they say some doctors are wicked, especially
honestly,
when they come to sickle cell
honestly,
disorder.
I was in crisis. I went to the emergency. Normally, what I normally do before I get there, I have my own contact that I will call the wait for. But in this case, I just went there. That doctor on duty that day was on call for almost 20-30 minutes. And I was in front
on a phone call.
Yes. I was there in pains. And when he finished, what he asked me, what's the problem? I said, I'm in crisis. Can you imagine what the reply was? Said, financial crisis.
The joke.
Yes.
The joke.
I just look at this person that I was not in that combative mood that day. Because the truth is, for me, I don't take things like that for granted. If it is up to Nigerian Medical Council, honestly, I will write. Because I've had incidents that I've reported doctors like that, and actions were taken. So when issues like this come up, when discussions like this come up, I always like to use that as an opportunity. Like, look, fellow warriors, when you are going through any abuse like this, please don't keep quiet. Report to the appropriate authority.
Because like,
how many do you want to report? That is one. How many want to fight back?
No, I still think that in line with the theme of the celebration, if we shine the light on the bad ones, if it's a collective effort, there are human rights activists who will carry it up. If everybody reports, their problem, together we can actually begin to, because if Devon is complaining, this person is complaining, the other person is complaining, ears will begin to listen. Yes. And that complaint may not just be for you who is passing through it at a time, because from your exposure, you're able to handle things for yourself. Mm-hmm. It could be for that poor girl, for that poor boy who does not know what to do. You begin to pave way for that person. I sincerely think you're in line. We should be able to report these issues. Now, before I start battling or fighting with my director for time, I'd like to know, quite specifically, I am not, a warrior in that capacity, but I'm also a warrior in my own capacity. If I am with somebody like that, and what should I notice as a change, as a colleague? What should be my first response to the person? And what will even tell me, okay, this person is not just being lazy. The person has a battle, and I need to work.
Well, I would say that, and this is one thing I'll be eternally grateful to NTA for, especially the people that I worked closely with. My boss at the time, Mr. Walekuka, Madam Bola Oyeyemi, and so on. If somebody who is genotype SS comes to you and tells you, I am not feeling well, regardless of how healthy and composed and whatever they look in that moment, take it seriously. Because, like they said, the default setting is to try to appear as healthy and as strong as possible all the time. You don't want to be associated with, you try hard not to be associated with being frail and weak and this, that, and the other. So usually, even when you're feeling poorly, you drag yourself to the office. Mm-hmm. Now, it's when you begin to realize that, okay, coming to the office today was a mistake. Mm-hmm. I really should have just made a phone call and told them today isn't going to happen for me. I recall one particular Saturday, back then I was handling Saturday morning. Saturday morning. I was anchoring the program that day. I woke up. I'd taken my bath. I was perfectly fine through the night. I woke up. I was okay. I took my bath. I got dressed. I was just making up when this nasty pain shot through my spine. And if that pain had occurred in a limb or anywhere else, I'd have taken the chance and knocked the program off and then taken care of myself. But you see, once I feel that tingling sensation in my spine, I know it's bad news. I considered, will I be able to sit on TV and just power through, just try, and with each passing moment, it intensified. It was like 8:45, I think. I picked up the phone, I called, I said, I won't be able to make it, I'm sorry. She had to quickly, I'm sure she didn't even come to the office prepared that day to anchor the program. She was meant to direct. She had to anchor the program herself. But I wound up, having a bed for 3 nights in hospital.
All right.
Trying to manage the pain. So the thing is, if somebody comes and communicates to you that they're not feeling well, regardless of how they look, just take it seriously.
I quite agree with you, because a lot of times I'm actually down myself, and we use a lot of makeup to brighten up and make sure that people don't get to know, because it's not their business, but it's also their business. On a very parting note, very short, you didn't give me the name of that book.
The name of the book is I Am a Survivor.
I Am a Survivor.
The story of my triumph over sickle cell pains.
Okay.
Yes.
And you say it's
going to be launched this Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
So I'm expecting that more money will come out, and we'll use it to help the other people who
more
are
warriors,
not.
definitely.
What's the title of your film? I want to go and watch it.
The Journey of the S.
The Journey of the
S.
S.
Yes.
S as in just one S?
The
or
letter S.
The letter S.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Journey of the S. Let's quickly take 1 or 2 messages. We've been talking. We weren't able to do that. Good morning, please. How do you cope that over 3 years you have not been in the hospital? How do you treat yourself then? Please tell us. Okay, I think you tried to answer that question. I asked it immediately.
Oh, yes.
And it says in a book from, because most people have died, do a lot of abbreviations, but I think basically say go to hospital. Please, rich Nigerians, it should help out as well. They say you guys are good companions and courageous. May God bless us all. Another person from the WhatsApp says, NTA, I like your program. Thank you very much. I can't take too much because of our time, but I would like us to leave with if it's just a sentence of encouragement to everybody who is watching us here. There are mothers who have this issue battling. Just a sentence.
Well, I would like to say to the whole society that sickle cell diseases or sickle cell disorder is not a death sentence. So that's the...
Okay, please.
I mean, I would say to every warrior, every fighter, regardless of what you're battling, keep fighting, keep living, and keep hoping.
Okay, and you must rest. It's not until you die. Rest. Okay, so...
And I particularly want to talk to our spouses, our partners, caregivers. Don't get tired. Yes. We love you very much, and we appreciate your effort and your sacrifices.
Thank you very much. And Conversation loves you awesomely so too. So see you again next week, and continue to be strong.
Revision classes on television for students in secondary schools in English and mathematics will commence on the NTA. The revision classes will transmit Mondays to Fridays from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA. This is organized in preparation for the various national examinations and orders. This is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Education.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day,